Hi everybody, this is Betsy Veldman and welcome back for another Papertrey Ink Make It Monday video. This week I'm going to be showing you a super easy technique for creating a realistic condensation or dewy effect using glossy accents. This technique is perfect for anything that resembles glass, or you might even try it on, say, floral images to create kind of a dewy effect. I'm going to be using it today along with the friendship jar set to create this pretty floral card. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to start off with a friendship jar die cut here, which was cut from Stamper Select cardstock, and I already stamped the outline image of the jar using some smoky shadow ink. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the solid image that coordinates with the jar, which kind of resembles, it's like the water, the fill image. And I'm going to go ahead and ink that up with a couple of different colors of ink. Now I think part of the key to making this effect look a little bit more realistic is adding the shading with your ink. So I'm going to start off by inking that with Aqua Mist ink, and then I'm going to take my Tropical Teal ink pad and I'm going to kind of just roll the edges using kind of that rock and roll technique. And I'm not going to do the whole thing, I'm just going to do this one side and kind of the bottom. So you can see how where I'm just kind of, I have my stamp block at an angle and I'm just going to kind of catch that bottom edge of the stamp and then just kind of roll it into that darker ink pad. Okay, so there you can see where we have some nice shading on that image. So then I'm going to go ahead and just stamp that right onto that die cut. And that gave us a really pretty shaded effect. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is I already have a bouquet which was stamped and die cut using the brushed bloom stamp set, and I'm going to layer that behind my jar die cut, but I want kind of that stem to look like it's extending down into my jar. So I'm going to go ahead and take that stem image from Brushed Blooms and I'm going to ink that up with some Limeade Ice ink. I'm not going to have to ink the whole image, I just want that bottom stem and kind of the bottom part of those leaves. I'm going to go ahead and stamp that just right about there. Okay, and then what we can do is we can adhere the die cut bouquet kind of behind that, just lining up the stems. You can see here where I'm going to line up the die cut stems with the stamped stems. So I'll just add a little bit of adhesive to that bottom part of the stem. And I'm going to layer that over the top. Now I have a few leaves that are extending kind of beyond the edges of my jar here. So I'm going to just take a scissors and trim that away. That doesn't look quite right. If you had a real jar filled with flowers, the leaves wouldn't be coming out of the side of the jar. So I'm just going to go ahead and trim those away. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and finish off my card before we add the glossy accents, so that I don't have to mess with it any further after I do that, because it takes a while to dry, so I want to be able to just, I'm not so good at being neat and tidy, so I want to have everything else finished before I add my glossy accents, so I don't have to worry about smudging it and who knows what. So I'm just going to add some foam adhesive squares to the back side of this die cut bouquet. And I'm going to put that right about there. And then I'm also going to stamp my sentiment here too before we move on to the glossy accents. Just a little It's Your Day. This is also from the Friendship Jar set. Okay, so now I'm ready to go ahead and add my glossy accents. And to get a realistic dew or condensation effect, you want just a lot of little drops, and you want them to be as perfectly formed as you can get them. So I have found what works pretty well is to do just a real quick up and down. And just pull that bottle away really quickly. It'll leave just kind of a perfectly formed little water droplet. Quicker you pull it up, the smaller droplet you'll get. And I'm just going to add them kind of to this side where we did the ink shading. It's okay to have a mix of some larger and smaller drops. And you can just go and just, keep adding drops until you're kind of happy with the effect. Okay, and that is really all there is to it. Now you just need to let it set aside and let it dry. Alright, thanks for joining me. This has been Betsy Veldman for Papertrey Ink, and I hope you enjoyed this quick and easy technique using glossy accents to create a water droplet effect. And I hope you enjoy playing around with it and that you'll share your projects with us on Nicole's blog using the in links list at the bottom of this post.